Hello, happy friends of frogs. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Cassie's Corner. I'm Cassie, and you're in my active corner. I am in a corner. I really am. But this is where I stay when I'm anxious or when I'm in a crowd and I feel safe. In my little corner, I'm like backed up against the wall, and I don't have to worry about somebody trying to sneak up behind me or touch me or things like that. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. And let me know. Let YouTube know that I fit in their algorithm. They'll recommend my videos a little bit more, and I'll be able to reach more people. That would be awesome. I don't like for people being sad. I don't like for people being depressed. And um, I know that it seems so cliche, but you can control what you think. You can control how you behave. You can control your depressive orders. It's not automatic. It's not something. It's not a switch. It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of mental work. It can exhaust you. It's very draining, but it can be done. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from 10 to 15 years of deep, deep, deep depression. Whereas I've cussed people out. I was abusive at times. I was never happy. Nothing ever made me happy. I didn't show my face. So this me being on camera is just a miracle in itself because I would never do that. I always thought I was an ugly, ugly person. Because that's what I was called. As a child, was a very ugly person. My mom called me every day, called me ugly. So I come to believe that. Um, Believe it or not, very. I've endured a lot. I've had a good childhood, but there were some deep, dark times that we will not speak of. You'll have to look back at the video. What do I mean by disabilities? And that explains some of it. Um, it explains a little bit. It's there. It's all there. Everything's here. So, but I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not of any kind of professional, no kind of psychiatrist, anything like that. I have studied in the medical field off and on for about 10 years. Um, However, I'm not a professional. All I can do is just speak from experience, and I use the Daily Stoic to uh, help others, to try to help others. See that you can control your mind. You are in control of your thoughts. You are in control of what you want to believe. You're in control of your behaviors. You have a little circle of control in your life. The weather, you can't control. The traffic, you can't control. Other people's thoughts, what they say, their movements, you can't control any of that. You can't control, just certain things. And my advice would be to write a list and name them things I can control, things I can't control. Do not get rid of the list of things that I can't control because you're going to have to master them so that when a situation comes up, you can place it up against something like, is this another person's opinion because I can't control it? Is this something somebody else is saying? I can't control that. Is this traffic? Is this weather? Is this a crowd? Is this an unforeseen event that I can't control? And then you also want to keep the I can control and study those as well because those are usually your thoughts, your moods, your opinions, your just the way you respond to everybody. Everything does not deserve a response. And we'll get into that in a minute. I go by the Daily Stoic, and this is a way that shows the ancient, what is that? I wanted to say antique, ancient Romans and Greeks and the emperors and things like that. They would go to war, but they knew they had an opponent. It's kind of like being on a football team. I'm with the Georgia Bulldogs, so to speak, and I have to fight against, another, the Miami Dolphins or whatever. I know I have an opponent, but I don't want to make them an enemy. And if you do, my husband watches a lot of sports, and some of it is kind of secondhand. I'll either hear it or happen to get interested in one of the players or whatever, and I'll hear them. Sports players are very good about not wanting to slander another person, not want to put another person in a bad light. We're all working hard. They're very great sportsmanship, all of them, all professional sports people, baseball, even basketball. They won't slander another person, but they will tell them there was a slight in the defense, or there was a slight in the offense, or uh, maybe that that part of our team did not work well, or maybe that part of their team, and maybe they had something on their mind, but they didn't control their efforts, or whatever, what have you. And I believe that's how the Stoics felt. I'm not going to make the opponents that I'm having to wage a war against. I don't want it to be a personal battle. I don't want to slander anybody. I don't want to say untruths. Let them say what they got to say about me, but let's not get angry about it and take it out. In our war, we're gonna fight because that is our opponent, and this is what we do. And I do believe also that Jesus probably was more like that when he walked the earth. He walked with prostitutes and beggars and lepers and people of not so noble character. And when they would question him about why he felt like he was God's son, or why he felt like he knew what he was talking about, he didn't get mad. He didn't scream and yell at them or slap them around and pistol whip them or anything to make him believe what he was saying. He just said it with his words and by his actions. He was a true Christian. Number one, he was perfect. That's the one thing he has over all of us that we will never be able to control. He was a perfect person, and he knew how to behave perfectly. The other point is that I really just think, why make an enemy out of people because they have a different opinion about who I am. That's my thought. I'm not saying it's true, but and it's not like, oh, Jesus practiced stoicism. I'm not saying that. Stoicism came way later after he was even here. So, but I just feel like that's how he behaves, because I just don't see him screaming and fighting and trying to kill everybody while they were putting him on the cross, or while they were crucifying him, or while they were saying all these lies and indiscretions about him that wasn't even true. I just don't see him fighting about it. I just feel like, they know what they know, or they know what they think, and I know what I know. So I'm just going to let them think whatever they got to think. I'm going to let them say whatever they're going to say. I'm not going to fight about it because it's not worth it. I already know the truth. God put me here for a reason, and I'm doing what, I've been told to do. So, by faith of God, I'm sure he winced when he was in pain because he was in a human form and that kind of thing. But I just don't see him screaming at anybody. I think I remember in the Bible he raised his voice a couple of times, but it wasn't so much so that his opinion was his opinion or his thoughts. He wasn't fighting for that reason. He was being serious and trying to get people to understand the seriousness of believing in God, more so than he was like trying to prove himself right. So that's my thought. It's allegedly. It's just a theory, just like Stoicism. I just feel like it's all kind of interrelated. So today I have a good show for you today. We're on day 40 of the year. Awesome. Awesome. It's coming along. Today we're in the 60s, and I'm so glad that we are. I probably need to get up out of here and work on my yard, or do something, because it's just absolutely beautiful outside today, and I love it, love it, love it. So today our entry is, you don't have to have an opinion. I just said that. Everything does not deserve an opinion. Everything does not deserve to be a battle. Everything does not have to be an opponent with everything that is said or everything that is done. But anyway, the title is, you don't have to have an opinion. Okay, you have the power to hold no opinion about a thing and to not let it upset our state of mind, for things have no natural power to shape our judgments. And Marcus Aurelius said that in his Meditations. Here's a funny exercise. Think about all the upsetting things that you don't know about. Stuff people might have said about you behind your back, mistakes that you may have made and never came to your attention, things you dropped or lost without even realizing it. What's your reaction? You don't have one because you don't know about it. You might after the fact. In other words, it is possible to hold no opinion about a negative thing. You just need to cultivate that power instead of wielding it accidentally, especially when having an opinion is likely to make us aggravated. Practice the ability of having absolutely no thoughts about something. Act as if you had no idea it ever occurred, or that you've never heard of it before. Let it become irrelevant and non existent to you. It'll be a lot less powerful this way. Awesome entry. I love this. I really love this. And I think about some of the bracelets, some of the jewelry. I might, because I'm real bad with jewelry. I love jewelry. I love bracelets. Um, it's 2 o'clock. Um, and we're talking about passion and emotions for February. I think that's kind of awesome, considering that we're having Valentine's Day this month. I'm sure it's no mistake, by the way of the book writer that wrote it. Anyway, I've lost bracelets, I've lost necklaces, I've just lost. But there are some times that I was out turning flips, or maybe I was in the woods and lost a ring or lost an earring and lost a, but I couldn't get mad about it because at the time I didn't know about it. When I realized it later, I'm like, oh, I don't have that, but where's that bracelet? Oh my God, can't go back and look for it because I don't even know. By the time I realize I've lost it, I could have been anywhere. I can just regret losing it later. Um, but I can't be mad about it because it's already been done. Um, it's already gone. There's no use that I have no opinion about it whatsoever. Think about what okay, I've misplaced some eyeliner. I've misplaced some money somewhere. Where did I lose it? I can regret not having it. I can be mad about not having that money because maybe I had plans for the money, but I can't get mad because I wasn't aware that I even lost it. So try to think of that in certain situations, especially if somebody is like trying to aggravate you with their thoughts of you or their opinions of you, and think that you can't have an opinion about it because you didn't control that thought. Is that? I hope that's making sense. I hope that is so making sense because you can't control what another person does. You can't control another person's thoughts. You can't control another person's opinion. All you can do is deal with it. Just they said it. What can I get mad about it? No, because it's not something you can control. Uh, am I mad? Um, let's say this world seems to be very, very fixated lately on uh, uh, face facelifts and rhinoplasty and um, changing your gender. And I'm not trying to upset anybody, but that is aggravating to me. But I can't have an opinion about it because it's not me doing it. I hate that everybody thinks that they're so ugly or they are so up with what is in style right now, or they feel so insecure with their bodies that everybody is doing the facelift, or they're doing like injections, or they're doing something with their body to alter their body. It is very aggravating, but I can't really have an opinion about it. It's just something people are doing to be in style or to be uh keeping up with the Joneses or for whatever reason. I can't really have an opinion about it. It's not something I'm doing. I'm not putting myself in that situation, but it does aggravate me to see people that have botched up their faces or that have messed with what God gave them because, I feel like they're not grateful enough. Um, if I ever had the chance to have Botox or facelift, no. I'd like to have my nose changed. It's kind of rather big, but I would never do it because I just don't. It's the nose God gave me, and what's wrong with it? Nothing. It's just it's not attractive to me, but it could be very much attractive by somebody else. It serves its purpose. I breathe. I'm not gonna mess up. I'm not gonna mess up what God gave me. And then if I did anything like that, I feel like my kids would be like, okay, where did I get my nose from? If mom's nose looks like this now, so where did I get my nose? My kids carry on my facial features, all three of them in a different way, and I don't want to do that to them. I don't want to mess with why is Mama different than we are? I'm not going to do that. I'm not. I don't believe in facelifts, and I just don't. I feel like you should be grateful for what God gave you. But and those that is something else. The politics in this world are just way out there. I don't. It just the world in general. I'm not talking about anybody specific, no country specific, nothing like this. But politics is really, really just out there in general. I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know who's Democrat. I don't know who's Republican. I don't know anything. Everything just seems so mumbled jumbled in this world, and it just. But it's not something I can comment on. I can just tell you what I believe, but I can't comment on anything happening in the world because this is not under my control. I can't. I can only have an opinion. I can't officially comment on anything. Um, so it's that kind of thing. I can. I don't have to have an opinion about anything. I just don't. Um, if somebody was to come at me and say, "Oh, I like your, what do you like my dress?" Well, yes, I like your dress, but I don't have to have an opinion about how it looks on them. I don't have to. I like the dress. That's what you asked me. I can't go further with my opinions unless I don't know. I just seems like sometimes maybe our opinions should be kept to ourselves because we are running this world on a lot of opinions. People thinking that they're not good enough, their face is not good enough, thinking that this is in style and this is in style, and they're changing their life and changing the way they look and changing who they are, trying to change who they are. And it's just not what we have too many opinions in this world. Some things are just not meant to have an opinion. Um, some things are not meant to have a response. Some things are just not meant to be a battle about anything. So, with that in mind, try to keep, think, should I have an opinion about this? Am I going to voice my opinion? Am I going to allow this to upset me? Probably not. Especially if it's just an opinion. An opinion is just what it is. It's what somebody thinks. It does not make it a fact. Your opinions are not facts by any means. If you can come up with facts and you can show people facts, then it's a fact. But your opinion is not a fact, and neither is anybody else's opinion about certain things. So, there's that. You don't have to have an opinion. Um, it's not obligatory. It's not required to have an opinion about anything. It really is not. So, I also want to remind you to keep your lists, your daily. Make sure you have a daily and nightly. You take a piece of paper, you kind of make a line halfway across, if that is what you want to do, or if you want to buy a notebook. However you want to do it. I have a lot of stickers here, so sometimes I use my stickers for my journals, depending on what they are. Too many stickers, way too many stickers. Um, So I use stickers for my journal, but I do a nightly and I do a daily things of the things I want to accomplish. Um, things that may have upset me overnight, things that I've gone through, uh, thoughts maybe. Um, just a list of things, your daily and nightly journal. At night, I relive the day kind of, and I put down what has upset me, whose opinion uh, ruffled my feathers, why did it matter, why did this upset me, and things of that nature. So that way I could control how to react if it ever come up again. It was very good exercise in keeping up with what was upsetting me. So that way I would learn to control it better. Say your affirmations. There are tons and tons and tons of affirmations on the web, on the internet. You can look them up. It can be for success, for romance, for money, for anything of that nature. You can look them up and just write them down, write about 10 or 20 of them, and say them to yourself. Say it out loud. Um, so that way you can get a feel of what it is that you want to attract. Say them out loud. You have to say it out loud, or else it's not going to work. Start with something small and true, like I am a mom, I have a car, I have a home, I have a roof over my head, I have food in my belly, I have things like that, and then it can turn into a great big. I kind of am an amazing person. I accomplished a lot today to make sure it is true, so that when you get to saying these things like "I am awesome," "I am amazing," you'll be able to believe it better, and it can clear out those negative voices as I was speaking about in the beginning. It can clear them out. You don't have to listen to them anymore. Your voice is going to take over, and they're going to be true, and then you can stick to what they're saying. Um, writing. I believe writing. I mean, you can type out a journal if that's what you want to do. If that's feels better. There are a lot of journals online that you can type out if that's what you want to do. But I like the art of writing. I don't like the way I write, but I like the art of writing because we don't do that anymore. There was a time, many, many years in school when kids were in elementary school or middle school, they weren't taught how to write in cursive. I just think it's a lost art. And to type it out is kind of like a job. So I wouldn't remember, but if I wrote it out, I could remember more. Remember, I'm very, very ADHD. So sometimes I'll be talking here and rambling about one thing, and then I'll switch real quickly to another one. And I don't mean to. I'm just very, very ADHD. I took a class online a couple of years ago, and I failed it miserably because I felt like everybody was coming in and talking to me about this and talking to me about that. I wasn't in the classroom and wasn't able to control it in a classroom sort of way. Um, so I failed that class miserably. I really did. Very ADHD. I cannot explain that enough. Um, Especially if you are ADHD. There's no harm in that. There's nothing wrong with that. I do still take medicine. There's nothing wrong with medicine. But if you are ADHD, find a little notebook or something to carry with yourself, and I'll give you a clue. Oh, I'm just trying to mess everything up today. Watch out, and I'll break it. Just a little notebook that you can carry with you. Keep notes. Or use your phone if you're digital, if you know that you can type it out and you can remember it that way. I can't do digital as far as notes are concerned. Everybody's like, oh, it's so much easier. Yeah, but if I type it out, I'm not going to remember it. I kind of have to physically type it out. It's kind of weird, but it's true. Um let's see what else. Don't forget to be kind. Once you're kind and you realize that you can enlighten someone else's day, it kind of becomes an addicting thing, and you want that. You want to become addicting. It becomes, you're like, set a goal for yourself. Be kind to one person a day. It could be a maid. It could be a maintenance guy. It could be somebody. It could be a waiter, a waitress. It could be the people that uh, paint your house. It could be anybody. Be kind. Tell them thank you. What a good job you've done. Appreciate them. And that way, that kindness can come off as, oh, I've made someone smile, made somebody's day. It's going to be very addicting. It really is. And you'll learn how to be really, really kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself and loving yourself is the most important part of depression. A lot of people don't think that. I did not. I thought if one person just loves me, if just one person can love me, then I'm going to be okay. No, 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 no. You've got that backwards. You really have that backwards. You have to love yourself before anybody can love you. You have to appreciate yourself before anybody can appreciate you. And that's just the way it is. You don't have anybody in this world but you. And I realize, okay, you may have the best spouse in the world. You may have the best children in the world. They care about you, and I get it. I do. I get it. But in the end, the only person that is with you all the time is you. And you are responsible for what you think. You are responsible for how you feel. You are responsible for how your brain works and how what your thoughts really are. I mean, it's you. You are responsible. I'm not saying you're making yourself sad. No, that is not what I'm doing, but you're not helping yourself get out of it if you're sitting there just dwelling over the reasons why you're sad. I never felt good enough. I never felt pretty. I never felt, uh, I just felt like I was in the way most of the time. I would say that often. I'm just in the way. I'll just go over here and I'll stand in a corner. You know what? That was my problem. That wasn't nobody else was making me feel that way. That was my problem. I thought that. Do I still think I'm not pretty? Yeah, I'm not pretty at all. But I am less in the way than I was when I first started. I don't hang out in the corner much, and if I have an opinion, I have every right to say it. Um, if it's important. If it's not important, then sometimes I just won't say anything. It's not something I wish to like cause an argument with or anything like that. Then I won't say anything. It's just not worth the battle to always voice an opinion. To always try to think you've got to be right. It's not an opinion. It's not. Why say something? Why why comment about something that doesn't matter? Why rile people up? Why get yourself upset over somebody else disagreeing with your opinion? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. So you can control your thoughts. You can control your emotions. Remember, you don't have to have an opinion. You just don't. It doesn't matter. If it's an opinion like for somebody being safe, yeah, probably I would say something. But if it's just arbitrary and it doesn't matter, then I wouldn't worry about it. You don't have to have an opinion for everything. I do hope everybody finds that great big bill of life. Find somebody that you appreciate. Don't forget to make your list. Don't forget to say your affirmations, whatever they may be. Um, you are in control of your brain. You can control this sadness. You can control this depression. It is not permanent. It is not. This is a woman that was in bed and didn't get dressed for many, many, many moons, and I'm fine. I mean, you'll always have to battle that depressive thought. You'll always have to. It's kind of like being an alcoholic or a drug addict or that kind of thing. You're always gonna have to worry about it creeping in on you. But if you remember what you can control and you can't control, then it's not going to be a problem for you. It really shouldn't be a problem. And again, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. Sometimes it took me 10 to 15 years to realize you're in control of what you're thinking. You want to be happy? Be happy. And no, I know it's not a switch. Don't get mad at me for saying that because I would be the one. Don't tell me to get happy. What are you talking about? Get happy? There's no. I don't have a button. There's no switch here. It's what I am. But no, when I took a dive a little bit deeper, yes, I had to change the way I was thinking. Absolutely, I had to be more grateful. There's also a way that you can uh, learn to be more grateful by taking a journal, writing, or typing, or however you want to do it, and think of all the things that you are grateful for. I keep forgetting to mention that, but it's true. Gratefulness comes easy when you know what you're grateful about. I'm grateful for the air. I'm grateful for color. I'm grateful for the smell of a new baby. I'm grateful for, little puppies. I'm grateful for the grass and the trees. I am so grateful for trees. I am just grateful for so much. Just write it all down. It could be anything, and it could take up the whole notebook. It doesn't matter. But once you get in the habit of being grateful for things, you'll never take anything else for granted again. You could be happier that way. Gratefulness is the best way to be about everybody, about everything. I'm grateful for my children, each one of them in their own way, and I could list maybe 1,000 ways each one of them honor me and make me grateful for them. All my children are very talented and they're very smart. Some people just don't use it, but I'm not talking about anybody in particular. Um, I'm just not. But anyway, I do hope everybody has a wonderful day. I hope that the weather is as you desire it. I hope that you're having a wonderful Monday. Mondays were usually my best days. I have no idea why that was, but Mondays were usually my best day. I think that I would get like I would get that rest or whatever from school, and then I would be all rested up. And Mondays were just awesome. By the time Tuesday came, I was just like, I'm ready to go home. But I think about high school a lot because it was kind of gruesome. But anyway, I do hope everybody has a wonderful time. I hope you enjoy the weather, and I hope that some of this helps. And if it does, comment on my channel. Let me know how you are, or where you're from. Let me know. Subscribe. That would be wonderful. I also have Cassie's with no apostrophe, Cassie's underscore at corner at outlook.com. And then I'm on Facebook, Bows of Happiness. You can find me there, and I just give little platitudes and um, positive thoughts and some positive affirmations and just positive ways to remind everybody to keep control of your thoughts and keep that positive mind flowing, and you don't have to suffer from this at all. I promise you. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful day. And I've really outtalked myself today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.